Last week, we've been navigating the northeast edge of the cube of space. This current has descended to the below on the cube, which is within as the subconscious. The current we will be merging into and traveling now is the north below current, that is Yod. Okay. So Yod means the open or extended hand of benevolence. Yod is the foundational form of all the Hebrew letters, meaning every Hebrew letter, all 22 of them, is a variation or a combination of this primal unit that is Yod. Is that showing on the share?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the letter Yod is the primal flame of what is sometimes called the flame alphabet, or in Hebrew, it's the Aleph Bet. This week, we're going to be traveling towards the west on the north below aspect or current of the cube. Remember, the east side of the cube is the creative imagination and Venus, and the western face of the cube is the physical world or third dimension. On the tree of life itself, Yod and the Hermit key connects memory or Hesed, the sphere of love and benevolence, to the central heart. Yod is the divine spark within each soul that must be fanned until the spark becomes a fire of the divine within each soul. It is the divine unity and is seen on the tree as the crown of Kether or Keter. So I'm going to read from Paul Case Book of Tokens regarding Yod on page 99. It says, I am the creative hand which fashioneth the worlds and establisheth the spheres, while yet the primal fire circleth untrammeled in the womb of space. That fashioning is not as the handiwork of man. It is my self-utterance through the voice of vision. By it I declare myself, yea, I utter myself as the father of all. And from my fatherhood is the brotherhood of all creatures. Therefore do the wise see in the letter Yod the fatherhood of Chokmah, the unbounded wisdom which establisheth all. That father, Ab, am I, the source of all, one, in mine inmost being, two, in my self-utterance, and three, in my union with my divine manifestation. In Jewels of the Wise from the Holy Order of Mans, we read of the Hermit and Yod on page 115, quote, all things are included in Yod, wherefore it is called the father of all. Okay, so let's look at this. Everyone see this okay?
Yes.
All right. So this is the Hebrew word for father, or Av or Ab. It's the combination of the very first two letters in the Hebrew Aleph Bet. It combines the first letter Aleph right here and the second letter Bet. This means father in Hebrew. So looking at this two-letter word in this combination, know that Hebrew is written from right to left. So when we begin, as the fool appears to be moving from right to left on the side of the key, simply place the tarot keys in the arrangement that spell the Hebrew word for father. and this is what we see. So as we look at this formula or word, Father, what I would like is people to just share as you will and simply state, there's no pressure here to share, but I would like anyone to just share your simple observations that you see in this combination of keys. There are no incorrect observations when we read the book of wisdom this way. So just unmute yourself and just say what occurs to you. As you look at these keys together?
The rod and the staff.
Okay.
Well,
Wow.
and the magician is looking down to the earth, and
Yes.
the fool is looking up and stepping off to the worlds.
Yes.
It's almost like they're dealing with the two, heaven and earth.
Yes. Thank you.
The infinity sign above the magician, and also the red power of the robe again.
Mhm.
And you can see it, the red again on the fool.
This is kind of weird, but it feels like it's saying, in faith there is trust, and in trust there is faith. Something about those two things.
No,
Like
that's perfect. That's perfect. No, that's beautiful. When you read the keys this way, simply, whatever occurs to you, there are no incorrect readings of this book.
The fool has an open heart, and to me, the presence of that adorable little dog represents the open heart, which dogs can open your heart.
Oh,
That's what that means to me.
thank you. That's very nice.
Fool has an open heart.
And I guess paired together, it's like when you do that, there's magic.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot. I mean, this is the formula from the book of wisdom for the word Father.
Oh.
Everything. Pardon me?
What's coming to me is that there's like the innocence of the child, and then at the same time there's this master or person who's gained so much experience in life. They're the two are the same.
Yeah. Excellent.
I see trust. Here we have the fool about to step off the cliff, but he's looking up. And here you have the magician with his right hand up, acknowledging his source, because up always means within in the tarot. So, but what I see is he hasn't picked up his tools. He's just pointing. And there's this trust that it's all going to work.
Yeah.
It's all going to work. And the Fool card is going to step off the cliff. And he's completely trusting that nothing bad's going to happen.
Yeah.
So, and then we have a full garden in the magician. Things have come to fruition, and the only plant life in the Fool is the white rose, and he has a band on his head of leaves. So, and there are leaves on his cloak.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's basically before. It's like before manifestation.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mhm.
he's cloaked with all these symbols,
Mm-hmm.
and a coat is your protection. When you go out in the rain, you're going to put a coat on. So he put on the universe. I always see that. I always think that's so cool that all the symbols are on there. So there's the trust. He's, you know, all his bases are covered. He's
Mm-hmm.
fully protected. And the red on the cloak of the magician and the red inside the fool's cloak, his coat,
Mm-hmm.
always mean to me action.
Mm-hmm.
And you got red roses on the magician, so we're getting into action here, whereas the rose in the fool is white. So it's just there. And things are about to happen.
Yeah, right. Right.
You know, I'm noticing on the fool's garment on top, there's yellow circles with red lines, and there's 9 points if you went around clockwise.
Mm.
And I don't understand this because it's kind of cryptic, but there's something powerful to Gurdjieff's Enneagram,
Mm.
if anyone has ever seen that. And Gurdjieff said that if you understood the Enneagram, you could understand anything in the universe, because it deals with the law of 3 and law of 7. But I just noticed that. So if in fact he understood how to work the law, we'll keep it simple, he would in fact be at the creative source with the open heart.
Mm.
And also I want to comment on the magician, the left hand, the one finger, the focus, the limitation,
Mm-hmm.
focused on one focused, limited area at a time.
Mm-hmm.
I know that from doing music, I have to stay with focused intently on one thing until it manifests, versus being scattered, which I'm very good at too, but that's what the one finger indicates to me, just that focus into one point.
Yes. Excellent.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyone else?
I'm looking at the white, which to me would mean God, purity,
Yes.
spirit. Spirit
Okay.
of the dog is very spirit, you know,
Mhm.
looks like the dog is very, you know, has lots of energy, very filled, very, you know,
Yeah.
following with the master there. And then of course the white and the purity
Mm-hmm.
of magician, God, you know, symbolizing
Yes.
God.
Yes.
And then with the red over it, which would be power or action. And he's manifesting from heaven and bringing it down to earth, with the right hand manifesting, bringing it down from heaven, and with the left hand pointing down to the earth.
I
Perfect.
just realized you've got the red under the cloak for the fool and over his
Mhm.
shirt for the magician. So
Right.
action's taking place, whereas in the fool, it's not yet.
Mm.
It's before manifestation, because it's not happening yet. It's underneath.
Mm-hmm.
And the magician put a cloak on that's red. In other words, he took the fool's cloak and reversed it.
Right. Did everyone get the colored tree in the email that I sent out?
Yeah.
There's an attachment. So definitely, yes, that's it. Thank you, Margot. If you didn't, let me know, and we'll get you one. But so the thing to note, all the colors in this book, in this tarot, and this tree are completely connected to all the colors of the Sephiroth on the tree. And if you will memorize the simple tree, that just gives us the most basic interpretation.
Ah,
So remember, red is volition or activity, right? And Christy brought this up, and it's actually later in the class of the lesson tonight, but I'm going to go ahead and say this. The most important first thing to notice in the tarot keys is always note what is white. Everything that is colored white in every tarot key, in this tarot, is always referencing Kether, or the crown, the divine self. Everything that is white in every tarot key of this tarot is related to Kether. As we learn to read the colors and the spheres, much more becomes available to us. We're able to read more and more and more, and receive more and more and more. So that's excellent. Thank you everyone for sharing. A little time, so I'm going to move forward here. All right, so meditation on these two keys together speaks directly to our subconscious, and contemplation by sustained gazing and wondering, as Margot likes to teach us, about these two keys and their symbols together reveals to us a much deeper wisdom as to what in Kabbalah is known as Father. So in this manner, Kabbalistic words of significance can be contemplated and the book of wisdom read. As we contemplate and wonder about the book, we become simple like children. This is how we read the book. As one great teacher said, whoever would become wise, let them become a fool. True insights, wisdom, and revelations may be received in this way as we learn and we read the book of wisdom. So, looking at this now, the fool is the superconscious mind. It's the prana within solar light that is the life force. It's the fuel that is our breath and the living radiance in all things. It is the life essence within which we all live, move, and have our being. And it's first absorbed into our physical forms by breath. Our most intimate connection with the divine is our breath, which is represented as the fool. It said our Creator breathed life into the first man, so it is with all of us. Our immediate connection to spirit in our vehicles is our breath. Even before we were born, our life force came to us through the breath and heart of our mother. It came to us first through her blood, filling our own hearts with life. Meditation on this is a profound acknowledgement of truth that is the unbroken flow of being from our mother, from her mother, and her mother, from the very beginning. The focus on breath is a foundation for all works of the mysteries and connection to spirit. So again, our breath is the full key, and it is the fuel that we use to fan the flame of the divine spark within us. So we're going to do a simple exercise. When I say begin, everyone just kind of do it at your own pace here, but let me explain. It's simple. You're probably already familiar, but when I say begin, we're going to take 3 deep abdominal breaths. And what I mean by that is I want you to breathe from your gut, like pushing the abdomen out and intentionally pushing the diaphragm down and out, and takes 3 deep breaths. We can go ahead and do that. So on the 3rd deep breath, once you just take that 3rd deep breath and hold it as deep as you can, pushing the abdominal center out feel the life within the core of your body, right in the center. Okay, exhaling when you want, just relax and breathe naturally. The Fool is sometimes called a bag of wind or bellows. And Virgo, the Hermit, rules the intestines. In the two-letter word for father, the letter Beth or Bet, which means house, is the magician key, or the Magi, which is our self-conscious mind. So coming back to simplicity, there are three aspects of our whole being in tarot. It's the Trinity, that is the super consciousness, which is the Fool, the self-consciousness, which is the magician, and the subconscious, which is the high priestess. So in the word father, we simply see super consciousness operating with and through our self-conscious. It's that simple. This gives us a clue as to our connection with the letter Yod, the master being that guides our self-conscious mind back towards our true self. And so simply looking at the keys again, we ask ourselves, where's the Fool's gaze? Where on the key is he gazing? As you go through your studies, note the corners of the keys. They're all connected. Every key is connected to every other key. So he's looking up there at the top left corner, which appears to be what's there. You know, the Fool is sometimes interpreted as the no thing, right? The unmanifest. So what's in his right hand and what's in the Fool's left hand? Where is the wand held by the magician? The magician or self-consciousness is the lens through which the super consciousness flows into creation. So by simple mindful breathing and one-pointed attention, we open ourselves to be receptive to the one will. It's so simple, it's often overlooked, but this is a formula of all that is occurring through us all the time. It's like water to fish. The issue is, for most of us, we have to develop some proficiency of concentration to experience this flowing of the super consciousness through our self-conscious awareness. And we have to trust it, knowing it's benevolent. Meditation on these two keys together assists us in bringing our subconscious on board. And this is where exercises like the orange exercise that you see on the holyorderofmans.com website are so helpful. We must learn to be both receptive and one-pointed in our concentration simultaneously. The letter Yod is called the intelligence of will. It's said in Kabbalah that there is only one will, and this will is not personal. So I'm going to repeat this. The teaching in Kabbalah is there is one will, and it is not a personal aspect. So people say, are you saying we don't have free will? Well, we absolutely have free will, but it's not what we usually tend to think of as free will. And it's certainly nowhere near what we think of as personal. Remember on the simple tree from last week, we talked about the 4 bottom spheres on the tree. Those make up our personality. Okay, those 4 bottom spheres are desire, which is Venus, the intellect, which is Mercury, the vital soul, which is the moon, and the physical body, which is the earth, Malkut. So just one small illustration of that there is no such thing as a personal will. If there were such thing as a personal will, how many people would win the lottery each week?
Everyone.
Pretty much everyone who bought a ticket, right? We'd all get our $2 back or whatever it costs. So this is one of those things that tarot teaches us, but it must be experienced because it can't really be taught, but it can be received by immersion through the keys. By this means, we align ourselves and we come to know what is really referred to as, quote, the will. We must always act as if we are doing the work ourselves, but just hold in our minds or just entertain the idea that we are channels for the true will until we experience that one will working through us more clearly. The master said, I seek not my own will, but the will of the Father who sent me. So the current of the Hermit on north below combines the energies of Mars, which is north, and the Hebrew letter Pe, which means mouth, where the word comes from. It's known as the exciting intelligence, and its function is spiritual awakening. It combines that current with the subconscious foundation of the cube, which is the high priestess, the uniting intelligence, the subconscious aspect of our being. Now, note here, let me see here. I'm going to share another thing on the 3x7. Let's see, on the 3x7 layout. There it is. Do y'all see that?
Yes.
3x7?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All right, so note that the high priestess on the cube of space, she is the foundation, okay, of the cube. She is the prima materia of the alchemist. The first substance. It's the substance of all that ever was, all that is now, and all that ever shall be. She is the Holy Virgin. And the Hermit is the astrological intelligence of Virgo, associated with the dark recesses within our own physical form. The Hermit is the number 9 tarot key. The 9th sphere on the tree is called Yesod. It means foundation. The 9th statement of the truth about the self on the tree is, in thought and word and deed, I rest my life from day to day upon the sure foundation of eternal being. So here's a reminder of the real value of practicing retrospection every day. Reviewing each day's activities with sincere intent before we let the body rest. Yod is the indivisible. Did someone say something? Okay. Yod is the indivisible one, is Keter, the first sphere of the tree, the crown. And the first statement of the truth about the self is this: I am a center of expression for the primal will to good, which eternally creates and sustains the universe. So Yod is associated with touch, and we ask ourselves, what is it that is experiencing touch through us? What is it that feels or senses through us? The nature of awareness is to be aware, as the nature of the sun is to shine. The Hermit helps us awaken to the light within us, not metaphorically, but actual, real spiritual light, which can be seen and most often is first felt or perceived by an intimate inner touch. There are many stories of mystics and saints experiencing the touch of the divine as an ecstasy beyond words. This is sometimes associated with the intimate embrace of the physical union of the male and female aspects. But here, this is occurring within us and expressed in the mystical Song of Solomon or Song of Songs, which is in the Bible and uses erotic language to describe union with the divine. It's part of our great awakening to our greater aspect of our being. Now, the good news is the one loves us. This is incredibly good news, right? Like it's, if we could just get that, we really don't need anything else, but loves us for real, like really, really loves us. It's real as in the truth that never passes away or abandons us, no matter what any appearances say in the world. In Kabbalah, we are aiming to remember and realize this as often as we are able, to be and know ourselves as we are known in the mind of our Creator. It is the Father in the story of the prodigal son who is always waiting for our simple act of turning within to be received again into our Father's arms and home. Weary from the illusions and trials of the world, we go within, guided by the hermit's lantern to our true home. So as we come to the western face of the cube, we will need this light to guide us through the wheel of fortune. On the tree of life, Yod and the hermit connect the sphere of love or mercy, which on the simple tree is memory, to our central heart self, our solar being. You see on the 3x7 layout, this is one way to read the Book of Wisdom. It's an excellent way to read it. Another is on the gatesoflight.com website and in the Jewels of the Wise, Mother Ruth's layout is also an excellent way to read the book. But looking at this, note that the second column here, we see this is the second stage of spiritual unfoldment on the 3x7 layout, and it's the whole Trinity, it's the whole shebang. We see the high priestess above, and the hermit is the mediary between her and this key of spiritual awakening, the tower. So memory of the true self destroys our illusions and false identifications of who we think we are. And that's this experience. Now, the beauty here, if you'll note, if you look at your cube, this same Trinity is represented and connected so nicely on the north side of the cube because the high priestess is below and the hermit is connecting her to the tower key on the north below current of the cube. Is that clear to everyone? Do you see that connection?
Mhm.
If you have your cube and you look at the bottom north side, you see the hermit connecting the high priestess and the empress, just like you see it. I mean, the high priestess and the tower, just like you see it here.
Mhm.
But it's reversed. All right, I know we're pressed for time. I'm going to move forward here. All right. In the Sefer Yetzirah, we read regarding Yod. The 20th path is the intelligence of will and is so called because it is the means of preparation of all and each created being. And by this intelligence, the existence of the primordial wisdom becomes known. So one more share here. What do y'all see? Do y'all see the hermit?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And is it still up?
Yes.
All right, thank you. I'm not sure where this went. Okay. All right, here we go. So we see the Ancient of Days, the primordial being, holding their light high on what appears to be the highest peak around. His crown is blue, the sphere of memory and mercy, allowing us to remember ourselves as we are eternally in the mind of the divine. We see him holding his light high. In his right hand, we see the shining star of David, which in Hebrew means the beloved. It's within his own lantern. And in his left hand, he's holding the staff and is gently touching his forehead. The staff is the spine. The light is the life force that has been raised from the darkness of being, which is the raised Kundalini, which on the cube is the north above current of strength key. So you see the north below is the hermit, the north above is the strength key. So we see the hermit reflecting that as an accomplishment. To the degree that we reach and sincerely seek the source within our own being, there is a reciprocal response from self. In truth, our seeking is actually coming from our divine self, calling us back to ourselves. And the search simply appears or occurs to us as coming from a perceived self-interest. Until we re-identify with our actual being, then we remember it was us all along. I'm going to repeat, whenever you see white on the tarot keys, always note that it's referring to the crown, which is, I am a center of expression for the primal will to good, which eternally creates and sustains the universe. The hermit's robe is gray, the color of the second Sephiroth of Chokmah or wisdom, which shows the being here has balanced and reconciled all seeming opposites and polarities within themselves. And this is the work of the alchemist, the burning away of the dross of the soul and the reconciliation of perceived opposites and polarities, so that the light of the divine self becomes perceivable as the living reality that is the source of our being. The background is dark purple and black, the color of the divine mind. On the tree, the simple tree, is the divine mind, or Bina, the great sea and the great mother. Remember, the greater the darkness, the greater the light. And that's that. We're going to, for this week, we're going to repeat the same practice that we did last week, but we're going to use the hermit key. Okay. Does anyone have questions? If you do, or comments, please just unmute yourself and ask away.
So who is this little guy?
Oh, you don't know this guy? This is
No,
Yoda.
no idea.
This is baby Yoda.
Okay.
Yeah, from Star Wars.
Aha.
Yeah.
Is that
That's
is that the recent Star Wars or?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, I haven't seen any of that.
Yeah, this is baby Yoda. So
Okay.
he's got his little robe on, his little cup, having a good time.